Okay, so today we're going deep on something pretty wild.
Yeah.
The predictions of Ray Kurzweil about AGI and the technological singularity.
Hmm.
Our listeners are probably thinking a lot about the future of AI.
Right.
What's real? What's hype? What does it all mean?
For sure.
So in this deep dive, we're going to try to cut through the noise
Exactly.
and really get to grips with the core ideas of this leading futurist.
Yeah, a pivotal figure in tech history for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about the inventor of the flatbed scanner.
Oh, wow.
Optical character recognition?
The tech that lets your computer read text.
Yeah, and the first print-to-speech reading machine for the blind. And let's not forget the Kurzweil synthesizer.
Oh, yeah, famously used by Stevie Wonder.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
this isn't just some abstract thinking.
Right.
This comes from a place of deep innovation. He's also got the National Medal of Technology,
Wow.
a Grammy Award, inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame, and his book, The Singularity is Nearer, was a bestseller. So when Kurzweil talks about the future of AI, it's worth listening.
For sure, yeah.
So our mission today is to unpack his key predictions,
Okay.
especially the time frame
Uh-huh.
and the underlying logic,
Mm-hmm.
and all based on this article you provided.
Okay, let's dive right in. So AGI. According to Kurzweil, this isn't just about AI getting better at specific tasks. He defines it as machines achieving human-level expertise across the board
Okay.
in every field. And the timeline he's predicting is remarkably close.
Yeah.
2029, that's just a few years from now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about excelling at chess or identifying images. It's about having the intellectual capacity of a human expert in any area you can imagine.
It almost sounds like something out of the sci-fi movie.
Great.
But what gives Kurzweil's predictions real weight is his track record. The article mentioned that way back in 1999. He made 147 predictions for the year 2009.
Okay.
And an astounding 86% of them turned out to be accurate. That kind of precision makes you really pay attention when he talks about AGI potentially arriving by 2029.
Yeah, that's a critical point. This isn't just a shot in the dark. It's rooted in his analysis of long-term technological trends, particularly the exponential growth in computing power. And what's truly staggering is the sheer scale of that growth. The article highlighted an incredible comparison. The Zoo's Z2 computer from 1939 performed at a rate of about 7/1,000,000ths of a calculation per second.
Wow.
Now jump forward to today. And a modern NVIDIA chip can handle 500 billion calculations per second for roughly the same inflation-adjusted cost.
Okay, so let that incredible leap sink in for a moment. We're talking about a 75 quadrillion-fold increase in computing power since 1939. It's almost impossible for our brains to truly grasp that kind of advancement.
Mm-hmm.
And as the article points out, this isn't solely about the physical hardware becoming faster and smaller,
Yeah.
which is what we often associate with Moore's law.
Exactly. While Moore's law, which initially described the doubling of transistors on an integrated circuit roughly every 2 years, is certainly a significant factor. Kurzweil emphasizes that the underlying exponential trend is much broader and more fundamental. It encompasses advancements in earlier technologies like discrete transistors and even vacuum tubes. And perhaps most importantly in recent years, the incredible progress we're seeing in software.
Yeah, so it's like instead of just getting faster shovels, we're inventing entirely new and more efficient ways to dig,
That's a great analogy.
which perfectly brings us to the power of software. And in particular, the astonishing progress we've seen with large language models. It feels like just a short time ago. We were impressed by AI that could generate simple text. And now we have these LLMs like GPTs. They can perform incredibly complex reasoning and creative tasks.
It's really remarkable.
The article shared this truly remarkable example of a language model completing a book comparison in a mere 40 seconds, a task that would take a human being 4 full days. And apparently, the AI even produced more insightful analysis.
So this example really underscores how software breakthroughs are now significantly accelerating AI progress, sometimes even independent of dramatic leaps in hardware. What stands out to you most about that comparison?
Well, for me, it's not just the sheer speed difference, but the assertion of superior performance in a task that requires nuanced understanding and comparative analysis. That really challenges our traditional assumptions about human intellectual superiority in complex cognitive domains.
Yeah, and it ties into Kurzweil's observation about our tendency to downplay AI achievements after they become commonplace. Remember when computers first defeated the world's best chess players? Initially, it was seen as a monumental achievement, a sign of true intelligence. But over time, the narrative shifted, and people started arguing that chess wasn't a genuine measure of real intelligence.
Yeah, it's almost as if we have a built-in psychological defense mechanism. to protect our sense of uniqueness.
Right.
But going back to Kurzweil's core ideas about intelligence, he defines it in a very practical way, as the capacity to solve problems efficiently with limited resources.
It's a very functional definition.
Yeah, and this ties directly into his modified Turing test bet. He predicts that by 2029, machines will be able to convincingly pass this test, meaning they can engage in a conversation that would fool a human into believing they're also interacting with another human.
And the modified aspect of his Turing test is particularly interesting. Kurzweil suggests that to truly pass as human, an AI might even need to intentionally introduce imperfections or inconsistencies into its responses, essentially dumb itself down a bit to avoid appearing too perfect
That's interesting.
or too logical. Think about it. If an AI answered every question instantly and with flawless reasoning, wouldn't that immediately raise red flags that it wasn't human? It's a fascinating insight into the subtle nuances and occasional irrationality that characterize human conversation and thought.
Yeah, it really makes you ponder what we truly value as markers of intelligence, beyond just pure problem-solving ability. Now, the article also highlighted the concept of deep reinforcement learning, with the compelling example of AlphaGo Zero. This was the AI that not only learned to play the incredibly complex game of Go, a game with vastly more possible moves than chess,
Oh, yeah.
but it did so entirely from scratch,
Wow.
simply by playing against itself.
Oh, wow.
And remarkably, it didn't just relearn existing human strategies, it actually developed entirely new and innovative strategies that even seasoned human Go masters hadn't previously discovered.
So this is a powerful illustration of AI's capacity for independent learning and self-improvement. What's particularly noteworthy is that AlphaGo Zero ultimately surpassed the performance of its predecessor, AlphaGo, which had been trained on massive datasets of human Go games. AlphaGo Zero achieved a higher level of mastery through a more fundamental process of self-discovery, highlighting the potential for AI to not just replicate, but actually exceed human capabilities in complex strategic domains.
So with this incredibly rapid pace of progress in AI, it's completely natural to start thinking about the implications for the future of work. Kurzweil certainly acknowledges that these advancements are likely to cause significant disruptions in the job market, and potentially at a much faster rate than previous technological revolutions. That's a concern that I know is on many people's minds, including yours, our listener.
It is a significant concern, and it's entirely valid to consider the potential for widespread job displacement. However, if we connect this to the broader historical context that Kurzweil presents, he points to the consistent trend of increasing per capita income, despite numerous major technological shifts over the past century. According to the article, per capita income has actually increased tenfold over that period. His optimistic outlook is that as AI becomes more deeply integrated into the economy, this historical trend of rising per capita income is likely to continue, even if the specific types of jobs that people perform undergo dramatic transformations.
That's certainly a more hopeful perspective on the future economic landscape. And it naturally leads us to Kurzweil's most ambitious and far-reaching prediction, the technological singularity, which he anticipates around the year 2045. This is the point where he envisions a fundamental merging of humans and AI, leading to the emergence of what he terms superintelligent hybrids. It sounds like pure science fiction to many people.
It does have a distinctly futuristic flavor, but Kurzweil views this as a logical and almost inevitable next step in our evolutionary trajectory. He describes a cybernetic future, where we increasingly integrate with AI through advanced neural interfaces and immersive virtual reality technologies. He even suggests that we might begin to see the early stages of this hybrid human-AI cognition as early as the 2030s.
So according to Kurzweil's vision, it's not necessarily about AI becoming a separate, potentially adversarial entity, but rather a profound and fundamental merging with humanity itself.
Precisely.
That's a crucial distinction that the article emphasizes.
It is.
He portrays it as a seamless integration. That will ultimately become an indistinguishable part of our very identity, allowing us to overcome our inherent biological limitations and unlock entirely new forms of intelligence and capability.
Precisely, he frames this not as a takeover by machines, but as the next significant evolutionary leap for humanity. And considering his track record of accurately predicting technological trends, it's a perspective that warrants serious consideration. This raises a really important question for you, our listener. If this kind of deep integration of humans and AI is indeed on the horizon, how do we even begin to think about preparing for it, both on a personal level and as a society?
Yeah, it represents a massive shift in how we perceive our relationship with technology. moving from the idea of AI as an external tool to something deeply and intimately intertwined with our very being. Kurzweil's optimistic stance suggests that resisting this inevitable integration might not only be futile, but potentially counterproductive, perhaps even hindering our own continued evolution and progress as a species.
What's particularly thought-provoking about Kurzweil's perspective is how he essentially reframes the entire conversation around AI. He's not just forecasting technological advancements, he's offering a comprehensive vision of human destiny, where technology becomes an inseparable and enhancing part of what it means to be human, pushing the very boundaries of our cognitive and physical potential.
So as we begin to wrap up this deep dive into the fascinating predictions of Ray Kurzweil, it's clear that he paints a truly bold and ultimately optimistic picture of the future, one where artificial intelligence isn't something to be feared, but rather embraced as the next transformative step in our ongoing human evolution.
Indeed, and his entire framework rests on this core concept of exponential technological growth and the accelerating power of both hardware and and perhaps more significantly, software innovations. His remarkable track record certainly lends a degree of credibility to these seemingly fantastical predictions.
Okay, let's bring this back to you, our listener, as you continue to process these ideas. Considering Kurzweil's compelling vision of a future where humans and AI increasingly merge, what specific aspects of your own intelligence, your own capabilities, do you personally envision being most enhanced or profoundly transformed by this kind of integration in the coming decades? It's a truly provocative thought, and one that has the potential to shape the future in ways we are only just beginning to contemplate.
It certainly is. And it really encourages us to look beyond the immediate headlines and the current hype surrounding AI, and to consider the much longer term and potentially far more profound implications for humanity.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us into the predictions of Ray Kurzweil. We sincerely hope that this conversation has provided you with a clearer understanding of his key ideas, the reasoning behind them, and perhaps sparked some new ways of thinking about the future of artificial intelligence. If you find yourself intrigued by these concepts, we highly encourage you to explore Ray Kurzweil's books and talks further. Remember, here at the Deep Dive, our ongoing aim is to provide you with a shortcut to understanding complex and important topics like this, always tailored to the specific sources and materials that you, our listeners, share with us.
Absolutely, there's a vast amount to consider, and we hope this exploration has sparked some fresh perspectives on the future of AI and our evolving place within it.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks everyone.